So they say CruzBike owners fall truly, madly, deeply in love with their bikes, and I have the 100-mile guarantee. So we're going to start this thing off. So this will be my very first ride, and they say do a Flintstone style roll down a hill. As I sit on this bike for the first time, I can feel the front end is heavy. You know, the pedals are out there. It's much different than my other recumbent bike, which was a Bashetta. The process that we're going through is getting our brain to learn how to make the right inputs as this bicycle does its thing through a turn. And our feet are attached, which is different than on other bicycles. So here we go. First thing I noticed is that the viscous steering is very smooth, and the whole point there is not to have any stiction. So here we go. The Fred Flintstone rolling down the hill. Seems pretty basic. No issues. Kind of fun. I might even do some back and forth. Yeah, and that's where you kind of feel the weight of the pedals up there. Not that bad, actually. All right, so do I get brave? Ooh, as soon as I put my foot on there, it starts putting in a turning motion. Very interesting. Oh, wow. So that is something definitely you're going to have to learn. Not too bad. Pretty wobbly, though. Very disconcerting the first time I did it. And I go up here and turn around and whoa! Okay, sharp turns, very weird. You got to kind of contort your legs into the turn. All said, though, for my first ride, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Suppose I should have tested the brakes. Oh, good, they work. All right, left turn here. I'm just going to do some figure eights around here. Definitely feel the wobbliness. So it seems, my handlebars aren't tight enough. So we'll have to make a little stop for that. So as I started learning how to pedal, it seems like part of the trick is pulling back on the handlebar on the same side as the foot that's pushing. And when I did that, my handlebars turned because I don't have them tight enough. So with the supplied CruzBike toolkit, I carefully tighten them each side, keep the bracket even. So I will tell you, I have fallen truly, deeply, madly in love with the color of this frame and the build quality. It's just a beautiful bike. All right, here we go again. Got the handlebars tightened up. Gonna try some more of those pedaling figure eights. So that's interesting. On a normal bike, you can do the kickstand with your foot, but this one's so far back there, but you're low enough you can reach down and get it with your arm. All right, I'm going to start off Fred Flintstone again. Coming on down the hill, but I'm going to get my feet on there. As soon as you put your feet on there, you start getting sort of an uncomfortable feeling of the steering feedback that the feet give. So I think that's the main thing we have to learn here. Yeah, definitely feeling that wobble. And I think it's a trick your brain's just going to have to learn how to deal with this. Oh, very different in a right turn than a left turn. Definitely engaging the upper body, unlike my Bashetta. But basically feeling pretty comfortable on this in a very short amount of time. And I don't know that I'd want to go out on the city streets yet. But as far as riding it around the airport, seems perfectly doable. Yeah, definitely wobbliness there. Getting my speed up, doing my figure eights. Yeah, this thing about the legs, it's hard to describe it. You're kind of making your legs curve with the turn there. But I have to say, very impressive. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of the wobble. No, the wobbles come back as I speed up, so still a lot of learning to do. But I'm starting to fall in love with this. Gonna have to get on some bumps and see how the shock absorbers do. But see, comfortable bike. I won't know till I do some long rides on it what the seat issues are. I'm used to my Bicetta seat, which I can really push into. But I don't think on this bike there's a need to do that. In fact, doing it seems, to kind of go against the CruzBike mechanics here. If I push really hard against the back of the seat, it induces a steering motion. So I think when I push hard, I need to pull hard with the same arm. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. And as I do more of these, the wobble is definitely getting less and less. I'm gonna try some opposite turns at the top of the hill. I haven't done much shifting yet. I'm in a medium gear. If you can't tell, it's kind of cold out today. I wanted to get out before all the airplanes starting up. But I'm actually feeling really good on this bike. I have to tell you. I can see how there might be a hill advantage here. I can't feel the thing that they talk about in their videos, about the advanced riders, using that back and forth motion, because I'm still trying to get the wobble out of my pedal. But I can definitely see the possibilities. And as I'm riding it more and more, my legs and my arms are starting to work together in these turns. They feel much more natural now. I think it's just going to be a matter of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my odometer on the bike and I start recording my miles. I don't know that I want to go outside on the street just yet, but I feel like I could go on a non-busy street even right now. Alright, so there was a little steering excursion. I didn't mean to make that little turn, and it happened. So there are still some things to learn here. I'm going to guess at the slower speeds, you're going to run into some issues. Slow speed with a high gear, I could see that inducing a lot more, pedal steer, I guess is what you would call it. But it's got the recumbent view, which I like. I'm having a little trouble getting used to this seat because I have the Bicetta seat, which is kind of a sling that goes across your back, whereas this one is the more traditional racing style seat. So there's no side-to-side support. Not saying it's good or bad. I'm just not used to it yet. So we'll just keep riding around here. So I'm pretty dang happy with this thing. Alright, I'm going to go into a higher gear where I really have to mash the pedals. Let's see what that does to me. Oh yeah. There's a slow arc induced. And now my arms are kind of learning how to counteract it. Definitely more pronounced at slower speeds like you'd expect. There's this thing you kind of do where you tuck the upper knee in and then you push the extended leg out to get the steering wheel over where you want it to be. So far I haven't had any issues recovering from a tip. Had a foot slip off of the pedals. I'm used to being clipped in, so riding without clips is a little different for me. But I have to say, the one and only most spectacular fall I ever did on my Bicetta was right after I put the clips on. And I went rolling up to my friend at Starbucks and could not get my feet out of the clips as I slowed down right in front of the table. And so my brand new Bicetta, you know, and you know, the weird recumbent guy at Starbucks just fell right over onto the ground, clipped in. So yeah, so I'll be waiting a little while before I put the clips onto this thing. But I don't think it's going to take very long. I'm feeling pretty good. I still have to think about pulling on the foot that's pushing. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it now. So the side where I'm pushing becomes the side that I'm pulling, and that tends to get it a nice even stroke. So I'm in a higher gear now, and now I'm sort of anticipating as the foot comes around. Much straighter, very little wobble that time. So CruzBike, I don't know why they make such a big deal about learning to ride it. It's kind of fun. It's fun to learn a new skill. So I'm really excited. I have some great ideas for trips. Basically want to get into some of the gravel riding around Southern California. So I ordered the bike rack and the panniers, have my one-person tent, and ready to try this thing out on some off-roading. Of course, I think I'll have to practice a few hours before then. Don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. So one thing I noticed is that you can pretty quickly get out of position in this bike. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're not paying attention, and this is me brand new speaking, I'm sure you get used to this, but I've had a couple of times where I took my hand off to scratch my nose or something, and the bike made an excursion. What I mean by that, it leaned in a way I didn't want it to, and it took me a little longer to recover. So you can see if you were out on the road and something like that were to happen, you know, you could be either into the curb or into the lane. So I think that's something that I'd have to feel really good about, you know, here in a parking lot or the airport, you know, before I go out into traffic. That said, I'm almost ready to take this thing down the road. I don't know. Am I falling truly, madly, and deeply in love? We'll see. All right, here we go. This is my first sort of high gear, slightly uphill start. And if I understand, well, you know, my Bicetta, I found that to be challenging when I first learned to ride it. You know, with a normal upright bike, when you push down on the pedals like that and stand up, your center of gravity is so low, you know, right down there at the bottom bracket. It's relatively easy to maintain your steering control. But we'll see with this. So like I said, slight uphill. I'm in, what gear is this? Oh, gotta look on the front. It's the third cog from the smallest. And so here we go. And oh yeah, that's hard. It really wants to turn, and then you wobble. Okay, now I got it. All right, mashing, pulling. So here I am starting on the hill. I'm pushing with my right foot, turning the steering wheel slightly to the right. I'm ready to push with my left hand and pull with my right, so I'm twisting to the right against the push of my foot. And you can see how much the foot really moves that steering around. Holding on the foot that's mashing. All right. So that was a bit challenging. I wouldn't want to do that in traffic. All right, there was my first, felt like I was going to fall, so I pulled my feet off. And what happened there is I did a really sharp turn. And so, you know, as you lean more, you know how you turn into the turn to recover, right? You turn towards the fall. I couldn't turn far enough towards the fall. You know, your feet do impede that. But as soon as I took my feet off the pedals, my hands did the right thing, just like a normal bicycle. So I think what I'm going to do now is do a series of these starts up the hill. And now I'm realizing I'm going to have to practice tight turns. Actually, that was a good one. I could feel some wobble going through that. So here we go again. I'm gonna stop. Again, I'm on the third from the highest gear. So the third smallest rear gear. Dead stop. This time I'm going to try and anticipate pulling on the handlebar. And I didn't pull enough. Okay, I'm going to try that again. And then maybe if I lean or start, yeah, let me start a little to the right. And that helped. I think what would really help would be to be in the right gear. But I think these are just skills you're going to have to master to feel really comfortable on this bike. Now, one of the things I'm noticing is I really have to twist the toe on the inside of the turn. So I'm gonna have to make sure that my clips give me enough room to do that. I had speed plays on the Bicetta and they had a pretty good range of motion, but I'm putting SPDs on this one for the mud shedding ability. All right, let's do that one again. Same gear, bad idea, but what the heck. Okay, this time I'm going to turn the pedal to the right. I'm pushing off first on the right pedal and pulling back on the handlebar. Oh, very nice. So that might be the trick, just knowing how much to start to the right. Or I could just increase the strength of my arms. Now, if I take my feet off the pedals in a steep turn, for example, what makes sense to me is I take the outer foot off. Then it's just like a normal bike, just like a normal recumbent bike, I should say. So that would be a trick I might have to use. So that could be a trick I could use. So I just take this foot off, and it steers pretty well. Now with this foot on, you're really having to tuck that knee in. It sort of restricts how far over you can go. I don't know. It may just be psychological, like your leg is so far over, you know that it would be hard to get off the pedal if you needed to. So it makes you a little afraid to lean into it more. Now the part I was just talking about, sharp turn to the left, I'm going to put my left foot out. Obviously you can probably see I have to bend it a little, but now my legs are not anywhere near the frame. I feel like I have lots of room to maneuver. So a sharp left turn, and I can really hold in there. Now this is completely counterintuitive to what I would do on a normal bike, where you want your foot up and out of the way. So kind of the opposite of what you do on a normal bike. And of course your foot's not in the way because you're up higher here. So now I'm going to do the other direction. So you notice the right foot out in front. And it gives me lots of room. Crank that steering wheel over. Alright, now I'm going to try that one more time. Oh, maybe I'll be really brave and try it with the other foot. That should be ridiculous. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to push off left foot, third highest gear, slide uphill. I'm turning the pedal a little bit to the left, pulling with the left arm, and rolling. Oh, a little unstable, but got it. So I think all these things you just have to do multiple times until your brain gets used to how your feet are now part of the steering equation. Very bizarre. I don't think, you know, maybe a unicycle would have that kind of coupling, but very unusual for a bicycle to have that that direct coupling between your feet and the steering. Now the interesting thing is, seems to me, I'm not going to do it right now. I tried to let go of the handlebars and almost fell off. But it seems to me, oh, there we go. There was my first almost fall. Had to put my foot down. What was I doing there? I was turning really steeply. I was getting a little ahead of myself. So I think their admonition to start slowly and really get used to the bike is the key. And I really do appreciate, you know, all the videos they put out. Their assembly videos. They're the nicest people when you email with them. Just bike lovers, you know. So I'm very happy with this CruzBike. I am starting to fall in love, but you know what? I don't think I've even done half a mile here, so I've got another 99, you know, to decide if I'm truly, deeply, madly in love. So pedaling through a turn, I'm noticing the inside handlebar. You have to almost put an extra amount of pull into, although now I'm learning to push on the other side, so hopefully I haven't misled any of you. There's only more than one way to think about this. So maybe now what I need to start thinking about, instead of pulling on the foot that's pushing, I'm really twisting. So I'm pulling on one side, pushing on the other side. And you'll definitely double your leverage, right? Well, I'm going to try that now that I've thought that one through. So here we are, slight hill, third highest gear again. I'm going to turn the handlebar slightly to the right. I'm going to think about pulling with my right, pushing with my left. I'm pushing off on the right foot. And, oh, yeah, a lot more control if I engage both sides. So all up until now, I had just been engaging the same side. And now I'm seeing how you get the extra power. There's something that happens when you engage both handlebars in conjunction with the pedal. And I do feel the power up the hill. I don't know how to describe it. You know, maybe I'm just making it up, but I'm thinking this is going to be a really good thing. So, in some ways, I think that by sort of overemphasizing the issue, you know, can make it easier for people to take it seriously. Like, normally I probably would have just jumped on this and ridden down the street, but because of all the videos and the, you know, the reputation, I guess, I did take it seriously. And you know what? I'm glad I did, because I think I've really learned a lot in this short little session. So anyway, I'll try and make another video once I'm a little more comfortable and got a little street riding in. And then eventually, I'd like to get out there on the trails and see what this thing could do there. I could tell right now I would be completely lost until I get my super balance going. You know, it is almost better to push on the opposite handle. You know, a lot more leverage. I probably should have listened to the second video before I came out here. They may even say that. So let me try that. Push against. Oh yeah. Oh, very nice. All part of the learning process, and pulling, pushing, I think you got to integrate it all. I think you probably do it both at the same time when you get really good at this. So what I'm trying to do, especially on an acceleration, so I'll try and accelerate up this hill. I'm going to push the opposite side arm. So I'm going to push the opposite side that I'm pedaling. And yeah, oh, well, I guess I need to tighten the seat too. So, yeah, live and learn. So inadvertently, I just adjusted my seat to the furthest back position, and I'm finding that I really like that. I like that a lot. So I'm going to go back to some of these exercises of pushing opposite of the pedal. I'm pushing my arm opposite of the pedal, and what happens is, if I think of it that way, the other arm automatically comes in. You know, I think the key to all this is to get to the point where you aren't thinking about it. Kind of like golf, when they tell you 3 things to do, and if you just think of nothing, usually you hit the ball better. Well, I really am getting there. Starting to just feel it out and have fun. Trying to pedal through turns seems to be a hard thing for me, and I'm getting there. Like I said, the pedaling through the turns with pulling or pushing opposite is really helping me, because you know, my arm's already pretty far in on the pull side, so the pushing against on the outer side, oh yeah, really nice. Let's see if I can get a more high-speed turn going. Oh boy. So there I felt myself leaning too far left and kind of running out of control for me. Yeah, so this is nice. There is something that happens when you're over further. I have a feeling it's the weight of the pedals pulling in on that front tire, you know, kind of steering it around. But then, you know, there's so many things going on this bike. With your hands, your feet, and gravity. But this is what our human brain is designed to do, is to learn these things. You know, it took a long time to teach robots how to walk. Something any toddler can do. So it shouldn't take long to learn how to ride this bike. So, you know, they recommend the figure 8. I'm going to recommend do some 360s. Really dial in your carved turn. Go the other way. Yeah, you have to learn left and right. It is true, you know, each direction has a different set of muscles, different muscle memory. I think I'm finding my left turn is easier than my right turn. I feel like I'm carving it really deep. With my right turn, I was still pretty tenuous about. Yeah, I'm afraid on my right turn. I don't know why. I'll just keep working it. Now the figure 8s are easier. So I got used to each turn first. Hope you've enjoyed my first ride. I think I almost fell off 3 times. I don't know. Am I falling truly, madly, and deeply in love? We'll see.